All right, here we have a 2010 Honda CR-V with 114,000 miles. Now this is one owner car and it has a pretty good maintenance history. The problem we're having is a shudder while driving, and this usually happens around 30 miles an hour, and I've noticed it usually happens once it shifts to the third gear. What happens usually between 1,500 to 2,000 RPMs at 30 miles an hour, the car starts shaking up and down, and it's usually coming from the driver's side tire. It feels like a really bad balanced tire, like your wheel wells fell off, but it only happens during that kind of mile an hour and that kind of RPM. If you keep it in aggressive RPMs or anything, it does not feel any different than stock. So I've tested a few things, because originally that shaking started when we put on the new Michelin, so we thought it was a tire issue. We rotated the tires, we rebalanced them, the problem still persists. I looked at the brakes. I come to find out that the driver's side brake caliper, one of the pistons, is stuck. Clean it out, rebuild it, and it's still proceeding to vibrating violently during those RPMs. After doing some more research, it seems like it's torque converter shudder. This is what the problem is. I'll overlay some videos of people having this problem and how it kind of feels like, but if you're having it, you probably know what it feels like. It vibrates, your steering wheel shakes a little bit, and the only way to stop it is if you let off the gas or accelerate more, then it disappears. So it seems to be something with the friction points during the torque converter at low RPMs, where there's some kind of problem with how the torque converter transfers its energy. So long story short, I've searched the internet. The only things we can come up with at a very budget is to do a transmission flush. Now for a Honda, you want Honda Genuine Fluid. I recommend this one here. It's the ATF DW1, which should be a synthetic fluid if I'm not mistaken. The original OG one was the ATF Z1, and I am also going to replace the filter on this car. I've never actually replaced the filter on the car. I've done a few drain and refills, but I am deciding to replace the filter in case it's clogged up or it's not flowing that well. This is an Amazon one or an eBay one. I know it has a Honda part, but I don't even think this is OEM. It's, you know, these replicas look pretty dang good now, but yeah, that's definitely not OEM, but it looks like OEM. It's probably going to take 3.5 quarts. We're going to do a drain and refill and change that filter, and hopefully it fixes the problem. If it does not fix the problem, we can attempt to do another drain and refill. And there's also a tube that people put of a friction modifier into the transmission that I've had people say it did help. Now I have 114,000 miles on the car, and this is the first time I'm experiencing this problem. I've read online some people had 40,000 miles on their car and they had the same problem, but after a drain and refill, some of the problems, most of them, went away. So I'm hoping that's the case here. The last time I changed the transmission fluid here, maybe it was like, I mean, it could have been like 30,000-40,000 miles ago. I think I recall doing 2 or 3 drain and refills on this car. So yeah, it is quite a little bit overdue. And the transmission fluid, if it thins out, it changes how the torque converter moves its fluid and the friction between parts in the transmission. All right guys, we got the old fluid out. I'm guessing there's roughly like 3.5 quarts. Some people say 2.6 to 2.8, but it looks like this is gonna take more than that, which is fine. We have plenty in the garage. I took off the bracket. This is the old filter. I'm gonna throw on the new one, bolt everything up, fill it up, run it through the gears, and see how it goes. All right, all done with the drain and refill. I pretty much ran it through the gears. It takes about 3.4 quarts to be at the top of the dipstick, so just keep that in mind. I'm gonna go for a test drive now, see if that one drain and refill with the filter change helped with the torque converter shuddering. And again, I didn't know anything about torque converter shuddering before, guys. This is the first time I ever experienced it, heard of it, and yeah, it's weird to diagnose it, but that's what it turned out to be. Okay guys, I went for about a 20-30 minute drive, did some wide open throttle pulls, did some regular driving, and I mean, I'm pretty certain I can tell you that the problem feels like it's like 95% plus solved. I mean, it's kind of sketchy because when you're driving over bumps, it almost feels like that torque converter shudder, so it's hard to tell if I'm not getting any more. But compared to what it was before, this is way improved, and then it really could have been solved just with this. So in about 15,000 miles, I'm gonna do another drain and refill, and if I continue not having issues, then that's great. If I will start having any issues, I'm gonna throw in that little bottle that I mentioned earlier. This is it right over here. I'm gonna apply that in the transmission. But so far so good, guys. So again, you automatic guys, man, first time I've ever heard of transmission shudder, but change that fluid. And you know, it's best to drain and refill or do flushes, you know, every 20 to 40,000 miles. That's what I try to do on both of these Hondas. You know, my Honda, it's turbocharged, so I try to drain and refill every 20-30,000 miles. This one obviously is just a daily, he doesn't beat on it. But yeah, I mean, I've probably missed 1 or 2 drain and refills here, so it was catching up to me. Alright guys, if you have any information or comments, drop them down below. I'll see you on the next video.
I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you. Come along and see it's true, but the world